angels, yokai, spirits, and gods. They're called many names all around the world, but no matter if you're religious or not, you've probably heard of them. They perform miracles, watch over us from above, and have even been known to influence individual humans, including me. Welcome to the Meli LynnLee Variety Show, where today we're talking cosmics, including the ones that I talk to. So say your prayers, subscribe below, and let's get started. As we usually do, let's start off with a definition. What is a cosmic? Well, my definition is a conscious entity that operates in the astral realm as well as in our physical realm and beyond.
Who are you? An angel.
There are three kinds of cosmics as far as I'm aware, and they split off into different subcategories, which those subcategories are probably the names that you've heard. But the three main kinds are universal cosmics, cosmics from God, and nature cosmics. The differences between the three are pretty self-explanatory, but I'll give you some basic outlines and information just for your own research purposes. As always, any information that I give you is probably just my own opinion, and any sources that I use I will put in the description box below.
You ask the questions and I Google the answers.
The first kind of cosmic, starting from the least complicated and moving towards the most, is called a nature cosmic. And these are exactly what they sound like. They are cosmic entities that are bound by nature's laws. But they can operate in a different space that we do, which is what I refer to as the astral realm. There are also laws of nature that apply to them that do not apply to us, because believe it or not, we as human beings have not discovered all the laws of nature yet.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
These laws of nature, of course, were set by God the Creator, and they were set a much longer time ago than any of us can comprehend in this lifetime. Science can kind of guess at the numbers, but to give you an example, nature cosmics have basically been around as long as nature has been around. Some are mortal, just like we are, so they live, they breed, they die, and they're only given a certain amount of time on this world before they are basically recycled and put back into the cosmos. But others are literally as old as the hills, because they spawned from the rivers, mountains, and valleys that make up our physical world. Stories have been told in multiple different cultures all across the world about someone moving to a new area and weird, strange individuals showing up at their front door to check them out or ask them to leave.
Veronica, open the door, please.
Typically, those are the nature cosmics. And those cosmics are directly linked to our physical planet Earth, regardless of being fourth dimensional beings. And our world can impact them as much as they can impact us. They can be very territorial sometimes and can lash out if their land is disturbed. I recommend being very nature conscious next time you go out on a hike. And if you're quiet enough and abide by nature's laws, you might even catch a glimpse of one of these cosmics as they pass through or pass by you. Be careful though, because nature cosmics can be even more dangerous than wild animals. And well, you won't always see them coming if you make them angry.
You would be angry too.
The second kind of cosmic is what I refer to as a cosmic from God, or a CFG. I call them that because unlike nature cosmics, who can kind of appear a number of different ways depending on their species, cosmics from God only ever appear one way. CFGs, anytime they interact with human beings, they always appear the same kind of way. Now, what I mean by that is they may look different to our eyes because they can change their physical appearance based on what our perception of them is, but their energy is always the same. They always give off the same kind of energy, a very calm but powerful, do not be afraid, my child kind of energy. It's usually a very warm, inviting energy, but they're also soldiers of God, so they can be very intimidating. They've been given a purpose directly from God, and they adhere to that purpose very rigidly. So sometimes they can be a little,
I am the righteous hand of God.
Be it a purpose to protect a chosen human or to teach someone a lesson by any means necessary. They will adhere to that purpose at any cost, because majority of the time, that is what they were created to do. So it's all they know how to do. Now, while cosmics from God have the light of the Lord to guide them, that light may not always be apparent to us humans. After all, Lucifer was the light bringer. He was God's favorite angel. And God made him to make certain moves. He made him to behave in a certain way. The devil knows nothing that the Lord didn't give to him.
Bitch, I said what I said.
Think about that next time you're feeling judgmental. Finally, the third kind of cosmic is what I refer to as a universal cosmic. Now, while God created everything in the universe, including the universe itself, he doesn't always micromanage the things that he allows to exist in that universe. Nature cosmics are bound to the laws that he made for them, and CFDs are bound to their purpose, which he has strictly assigned them. But universal cosmics aren't bound to anything, because they don't have to be.
If the men find out we can shapeshift, they're going to tell the church.
Let me explain. Universal cosmics know their place in God's universe inherently, without having to think much about it. While nature cosmics embody a more chaotic natural energy, and CFDs embody a more organized, structured energy, universal cosmics have a pretty balanced combination of both. They're allowed to exist and do as they please, as long as it's not in direct disobedience with their purpose. But because they have an inherent understanding of their purpose, which nature and CFDs do not inherently have, they kind of are allowed to go off and learn whatever entertains them, learn whatever pleases them, and do the things that maybe nature and CFDs are less likely to experience. This results in them absorbing way more knowledge and way more energy than any other kind of cosmic in the universe, with the exception of the God consciousness, of course. When other cosmics and entities interact with them, this results in them having a very powerful attitude and a completely different kind of personality.
I'm probably too cool for you, so friend request denied.
I have only ever met one universal cosmic, and I think it's because they're so few and far between. Like, I don't think there's that many of them out there, and if they are, I don't think they're hanging around us. Whereas most of us encounter nature cosmics and CFDs most of the time without us even knowing that they're there. Universal cosmics are nowhere near as numerous, as far as I'm aware. But when they are around, the other cosmics get out of the way. Universal cosmics have been given this gift and ability from God to basically be the epitome of free will, but their vast expanse of knowledge is also taken directly from the Akashic records. They aren't omnipotent, exactly. They aren't all-knowing, but they can find any information they want to because of their direct link to the source. This being the case, they are very easily entertained and have a great sense of humor, unless you disrespect them or someone they care a lot about. That's when their sense of humor may get a little dark, and well, you won't make that mistake twice. The main thing to know about all cosmics is that they have a huge range of personalities just like we do, but they adhere to a set of rules that we don't even understand how they work or know that they really exist yet. So now we know what they are, but what do they look like, and why can some people see them and others not? Well, for starters, they appear however they like to. Some cosmics are limited to appearing in specific ways depending on the variety or species that they are. But many of them are metaphysical, meaning that they transcend beyond the physical matter and the laws of physics that we're used to in the third dimension. Now, there are some nature cosmics who are more often than the others bound to certain laws of nature that are similar or the same that we are in the physical dimension, but while they still are bound to those laws, they have the ability to go through into, say, the fourth dimension. Bigfoot would be an excellent example of this. While they have a three-dimensional form, they're also capable of stepping into that fourth-dimensional space or astral realm to hide from humans who cannot follow them there. And that is what makes them cosmics. As for why some people see them and some don't, well, have you met people?
Leave me dry like a goddamn vampire.
Humans are exhausting. Like, sure, they're a good source of energy to feed off of for some of them, but most cosmics don't prefer the particular flavor, shall we say, that most humans put off. And they know that they have an understanding of the universe that we simply do not have. Most human beings can't even shut up and get along with each other, let alone understand their place in the universe, which, let's be real, if they really knew, would probably terrify them to their core. But we'll save that for another video.
Why do I have to be so cynical.
Among the people who claim to speak to otherworldly entities, myself included, they have been called seers, intuitives, psychics, among many other names. One such seeress was Joan of Arc, who spoke to angels and saints and claimed that the voices of Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret advised her to go and help lead the French troops to victory against the English, and then crown a specific man as the rightful king of France, which I have no idea why Cosmics would care about who was the rightful king of France, but I imagine it must have something to do with the cosmic destiny, which is basically God's plan. Like, God knows what he's doing. He has a plan, and sometimes he's got to pull a few strings here and there, basically just to fill in the plot holes. And while I'm sure some of those plot holes he probably leaves in to make it more entertaining for himself and us, some of those plot holes you gotta fill in so that the story moves smoothly.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
But why he actually enlists certain people to be chosen individuals, that's probably something we're never gonna know. It's possible that maybe some people are just more receptive than others. Another theory is that maybe he creates certain characters to do specific jobs or play specific parts. Regardless of the reason, there's a lesson to be learned in any situation you may find yourself in. There's an old Native American saying that goes something like, the only thing that could have happened is the thing that did happen. And if that's someone's quote, I don't know who it is. I heard it from one of the cosmics I interact with that I refer to as Cosmic Number 3.
Hi.
There's a lot of Native American stories about spirits and shadow people and all that variety of entities, and they talk about it just like any other part of their culture. My favorite concept from those cultures are the ones where they talk about their ancestors being descendant from the star people. And while I won't go full ancient aliens on that particular set of stories,
I told you we needed more glitter.
I certainly love listening to all the different stories from North and South American tribes about the different perspectives and the different ways that cosmic beings impacted not only their religious beliefs, but their everyday lives. And for us modern day people to think that we're not being impacted by those same cosmics and entities today, I think that's pretty dismissive of us. Every great civilization around the world had different stories, but similar concepts about the angels and gods and entities that impacted their society. And I think for us to ignore that and not consider the implications of that is incredibly closed-minded. But what do I know about cosmic beings? After all, I'm just a person, right? Humans are fallible, so I could be wrong, or I could, not even know what I'm talking about. I don't know better than anyone else, do I? Well, I never said that I did. But what I usually say is, I have a theory. And whether you're with me or not about said theory, you gotta admit it's pretty interesting to think about. But my qualifications in the supernatural and of the beings that live within it don't come from a church or a college or a degree or anything like that. No, my qualifications are just a gift I got from God. He gave me this gift to see, speak, and interact with these other beings, as long as they're willing to reciprocate. So that's where my knowledge comes from, the cosmics. Or as I like to call them, my friends on the other side. What? Oh, we can't use that audio? Disney will sue us. Lawsuits over music rights. Okay, that's fine. Moving on. Speaking about my own experiences is a lot of fun for me because I really like to share with people how I see the world. Along with having a kind of synesthesia, I think is what they call it, where music makes me see like colors and shapes and things, which I'm sure we've established at this point. I also have a few cosmic friends who hang out with me, basically when they have nothing better to do. It's kind of like having roommates with you everywhere you go, except for some reason, they've decided that you're their main priority, so they do their best not to annoy you. Although what's really funny is when you have people over, and one of them who either doesn't know about them or doesn't believe in them actually sees one of them walk through the house. When they get seen by someone else besides me, that's pretty entertaining.
Then who are these people in your house? There's people in my house?
This has happened on multiple occasions with a few different individuals when they spend enough time around me. If you spend enough time in my direct vicinity, at some point, you're probably going to notice one of them. Usually they respond in a very confused manner and they have no idea what they've just seen and they're just like, but really, they don't need to understand what they've seen because don't worry, buddy, they're not here for you. But to shed a little light on my own cosmic friends, here's just a general vibe that they give off, along with the personal identifier I've given each of them for my videos. If you've seen my videos before, then you know that there are 3 of them. Number 3 is a nature cosmic. And while I don't know what kind of nature cosmic he is, mostly because I just haven't asked, I kind of figure if he wants me to know, he'll probably tell me. But that's my bad. But I can tell you that he likes old Native American stories and that he really doesn't like being around people all that much. And he really prefers to be out in nature, out in the woods, which him and I have that in common. So why does he visit me? Well, one day I was hiking around in the woods and he noticed that I could see him. And then he noticed that there were others around who got to hang out. And he kind of decided that, oh, well, I ain't got nothing better to do and she seems nice, so let's go see what her deal is. My theory is that he is a forest spirit of some variety who lived in one of the forests around my home. Unfortunately, the area I live in, Oregon, we have the most wildfires in the country right now. And we have so many fires of acreage burning that, millions of animals and spirits alike are being displaced and pushed into the towns into people's backyards, basically anywhere they can get out of the flames. And it's been like that for several years now. Like, we've had multiple fire seasons in a row where we have so many fires that there's just millions of acres burning. So because he unfortunately no longer has a home, we don't talk about it. He basically just gets to hang out with us now. He has new friends and a new family that he's found with me and my other cosmics. Besides, who doesn't want to travel around with me and see all the cool places I go? I mean, I'm probably not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm good at telling stories and I always crank the tunes in my truck. I always got good music going. So, I think he enjoys the music. Number 2 is a CFG, Cosmic from God, who saved me when I was astral projecting one time, and I was about 18, and I drifted too far from my cosmic guardian. We'll talk about him next. And there was some earthquake shenanigans involved, and I almost got squished, and number 2 jumped in and saved my butt. He then told me his name, which I won't tell you, but it's very unique, and it's very pretty. And he basically told me that his purpose is to keep me alive until it is time for me to pass on and go on my next adventure in the cosmos. So God sent him basically to keep me alive because I can get into some trouble. He is quite good at his job, and he looks the most like what you would consider a stereotypical angel to look like. He's very positive, good energy, and it's rare that I ever see him scattered. He's a very organized consciousness. Basically, he's the roommate who color codes everyone's closet for them and never leaves dishes in the sink. Hypothetically.
How about now, Benson?
And last, but certainly not least, we have Cosmic number 1. Now, I had the hardest time trying to identify what he was back in the day when I was younger and he was first kind of hanging around me and I was learning about this stuff. But I don't know why I had such a hard time of it, because if I go through the 3 descriptions in the beginning of this video that I gave you, he sticks out like a sore thumb. It's so easy to be like, oh yeah, he's that one. Cosmic number 1 is a universal consciousness. And I guess he's just really good at hiding it. He's watched human beings for so long, mostly because he's fascinated by them, that he really knows at this point how to blend in with us. And honestly, I thought he was just some dude who died when I was younger. Nah. He's never been human. He's never been alive. Now, I wish I could tell you some super elaborate backstory about how we met and how I was like,
XO baby.
And then he was like,
Ain't no love in Oklahoma.
but That's not how that went. That's not how that works. Although, in my books, I'd like you to believe otherwise, because slow burn romance is the absolute, like, every woman's weakness in the world we live in. But as I've previously mentioned in some other videos, some cosmics, especially universal cosmics, they don't have, like, a set gender like we do. They're not male or female. But because I have a tendency towards rebellion, which I really hope you figured out at this point, my cosmic buddies tend to lean opposite of what I am. Which, if you're confused about that, I'm a double X chromosome. So while I'm female, they take on masculine forms in order to complement me and basically just, like, make me feel safe. But while Cosmic Number One won't tell me what his universal purpose is, and trust me, I've asked, part of it seems to be helping me spread good vibes and positivity to the world in whatever form I can do so. Be it as an author, as an actress, as a mystical Meli YouTuber type, whatever it is, he is helping me to fulfill my purpose. And although we sometimes argue like an old married couple,
if you were my wife, I would put poison in your coffee.
If you were my husband, I'd drink it.
I'm just kidding. That was a joke. We don't do that either. But what happens is, every time I start trying to explain him and describe him, I get the weirdest case of writer's block. Like, it's almost as if he doesn't want me to say too much about him. Like, he doesn't want me to describe his personality too much. And he's absolutely incredible in pretty much every way, but for some reason, words just don't seem to do him justice. When I get the paper in front of me, I just, like, forget how to write. And honestly, I think that's the best way to describe a universal cosmic like Number One. They're so incredible and powerful and so absolutely amazing. Our human brains can't even comprehend how vast their reach into the heavens is. I think that's why God allowed Number One to be my guardian cosmic, because he knew I'm a little rebellious already, and someone's going to have to be able to handle me and teach me properly without, me getting bored. Being that God knows everything, he probably also knew that the personality he gave me was going to be a lot to handle. So he had to send me someone with just as big a personality who, while keeping me safe, could also keep me entertained. After all, Number One did teach me how to astral project. And I don't see just any cosmic letting me get away with that.
I'll take you to the other side. Okay, my friend.
If you're trying to figure out how to contact cosmics, or maybe even your own guardian angel, I would advise that you don't do anything too drastic. I would say stay away from rituals and magic that promise that they can have you or help you summon up your guardian angel. Because the truth of the matter is, if you do those things, 95% of the time, you're summoning something up that's not supposed to be here. Things that don't have your best interest at heart. All cosmics have the potential to be dangerous, and the devil doesn't bargain.
I don't mean to meddle, but the devil doesn't settle. No, the devil doesn't bargain.
And anytime you think that you have the ability to summon one up, you've been misled by magic and popular culture. Cosmics appear when they want to, when they're needed to, or when they're sent to. You can't summon one up. Not a good one, at least. The ones who are here are meant to be here. Cosmics who aren't supposed to be here, those are the ones that come through portals after you try and summon them. And if you do summon one up that's not supposed to be here in the first place, that's how major possessions can happen, and you're gonna get hurt. So, for your sake and all of ours, please don't be summoning cosmics. If you want to, interact with your guardian angel, I totally get that. That's fine. But do it through prayer. Even if you can't see them, I promise they're there. Because everyone has at least one. Usually it's one that's pretty close to you and your soul, somewhere on the tree of life. But we'll save that for another video. If you haven't already, subscribe below to see future episodes, or add to my Cash App tip jar if you'd like to support the channel. Thank you to all my Nahamo Nation subs. I love you guys all so much. And until next time, God bless. And Nidoken Nahamo. See you in the stars.